Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate, and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. I want to share with you just a little bit of a metaphor that I came across as I was watching one of my old favorites, Parks and Rec. Parks and Recreation has a character in it, Leslie Snopes, I think her name is Leslie. I don't remember, but her mom, she's into county politics or whatever, wherever she lives, and it's a comedy sitcom thing. And her mom is, I don't know, the mayor or something like that. I don't remember. She's into politics also. And Leslie goes to visit her mother, right? And she stands in the doorway, and her mother looks up from the desk and she says, "Get in the doorway or get out of the doorway. Looming in the doorway is creepy. Either come in or get out, but don't loom in the doorway because it's creepy." That really struck me, and I had to laugh because it makes a whole lot of sense to me and is so relevant and pertinent to so many things that are important to me, that if I'm going to go somewhere and do something, I'm in all the way or I'm not in at all, because that's how I play. I don't like just poking in one little toe, and I'm not talking about investigation and, discerning whether to make a decision to move forward. I'm not going to loom in the doorway indefinitely, wondering if I'm going to. I'm going to stand outside the doorway, investigate the doorway, understand what's supposed to be on the other side of that, get all the information that I possibly can so I can make a very educated and discerning judgment about that and decision about whether or not to just move to another doorway, close the door, open the door, or go into the door or whatever. But just standing around, not making a decision or looming around and not really committing to something, that's really what that was about for me, is either commit to going in, commit to going out. However, somewhere straddling in between means that you're going to get slammed in the door whenever it comes by, so either in or out. And with relationships, with a job, with a passion, with a hobby, with our children, with our dogs, with whatever it is, if we come at it with that kind of half-assed commitment, then what do we expect to get back? Well, unfortunately, some of us, we put in a half-assed commitment and we find people that are willing to give us 110% while we, breadcrumb and do that thing. It's a terrible cycle. But that's why we loom in doorways sometimes, because we want to try to guarantee that, is that safe? Is that safe? And, the truth of it is that nobody's safe. No one's safe, because we all have the potential to do something really horrible at any time. We do. I mean, that's just the truth of it, is that any human being has the potential to be a real jacklang if they wanna, and they could choose to do that. It's a matter of, are they choosing to do that? Do they have a consistent history of choosing to be, a dill hole about everything? Are they contrary? Are they absolutely refusing to cooperate? Those kinds of things. If we have known offenders, then what's the lurking in the doorway about? What would be the point? If we know that a job is terrible, it has terrible hours, terrible pay, why would we lurk in the doorway thinking about it? And particularly in relationships where, we want to maybe get committed to it, we're not really sure, or we're not all the way in. It's based on a history of being hugely disappointed by other people, because being afraid to walk all the way into a door or to walk out of one, I'm not saying we have to walk into every doorway that's presented to us. We often don't have the courage because we're afraid we might miss something, or what if something else doesn't come along? And there's millions of doors, there's endless amounts of doors, and closed doors, keep on walking. Wide open doors with no frame and no nothing, keep on walking. And doorway that you might be interested in, either commit to, I'm going to go in and I don't really know how this is going to go, but I feel good about it. I feel internally that it's a good decision and I'm going to walk in and deal with whatever comes up. Or I don't feel that and I'm going to walk away and deal with the fact that I will definitely find more doors. I will definitely find more avenues to approach my life in ways that I don't have to lurk. If I'm lurking, I'm wasting time doing what I really want to be doing. If I'm thinking about it, if I'm on the fence, if I'm not sure, if I'm hemming and hawing, it means I'm not doing what I really want to be doing, or what I could be doing that would really be feeding my soul and nourishing me in a very healthy way. 444, thank you, Spirit. So taking the time to step back from a situation and get real observational about it, whatever it is, a job, a relationship, a passion, a situation, particular event and anything, taking the time to step away from the door all the way, just step out all the way and take a look at that from a much higher perspective, a higher vantage point, and get all the emotional baggage out of the way, because we often want to lurk in doorways and go, hey, are you going to come out? Are you going to do this? Are you going to, or somebody else is beckoning from within of, are you going to come in, come in, come in, come in? And then you have to crawl over broken glass to get to their desk or whatever. Or we play these weird games with one another. And so it helps just if you're lurking somewhere or you're looming and you're not just sure and, deciding one way or the other, get up off the fence altogether. Not hop in on one side or the other, get up off the fence altogether and take an observational standpoint on it. Remove the emotion as much as possible, which sounds kind of cold and sterile, and it is, because we can't afford to make decisions, life decisions, particularly if you're lurking in a doorway about whether you're going to go to, McDonald's for lunch or not. That's not quite as consequential as whether I'm going to marry this person or whether I'm going to take this job or whether I'm going to travel to this country. Those have a little more consequence, or when we take action that, might not be in our best interest because we're lurking in a doorway trying to peek in and see how we can manipulate that and change the narrative to what works for us better. I mean, there's all different scenarios on that. And so if we don't get caught up in all of that, get out of the doorway, get out of the either side of that, get out of those rooms, get off the fence and take that higher perspective and take a peek at that. And having no emotion ever about it would be frightening. That would be scary and pathological. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying take out the emotion, get out a piece of paper, whatever it takes. Talking to another human, maybe. But more than anything, what do I need to do? Sit down, let me write this out, think this out, paint this out, scream this out, dance this out, whatever it is, until I get all of the emotional stuff regulated and controlled and moved off of me so that I can clear my mind and get to just the raw data. I just need the facts, not how I feel about the facts, just the facts. And that way I can then, once I know what the facts are, it's very hard to know what's fact versus fiction when we're in the middle of hysteria or sadness, or we're busy tooling someone, jealousy, rage, whatever it is, when we're all in all of these emotional states of not well-being and not balance, then how could we possibly make decisions that are in our best interest? We think we are, and we're acting from an emotional place. And when we react from an emotional place, please be a first responder and not a first reactor. If you want to be in a situation where you need some help and you need a first responder, you want a first responder, not a first reactor, right? So be your own best first responder by, let me take this from the emotional element of, whatever it is, the out of balance thing. Let me take that element out and do whatever it takes to do that without taking action on somebody else or self, like dance, scream, whatever, in a healthy way, non-toxic, preferably a healthy way. Release the emotion, at least temporarily, to put that bubble of, okay, we're going to take a pause here. I'm going to rise above this and take a peek and let me put all this out on the table. And remove the emotions. Remember, don't get all, hot and bothered about it while you're doing it. And if you do, go do some more screaming or writing or whatever, helps to abate that. And then you can lay everything out and say, logically, this is, conclusively, I need to do this, or this, or this, or this. There's always a million different choices we can make. There's an infinite number of choices we can make. There's not just one or the other, okay? Whether we're gonna loom and go into that doorway or not, that's specific. However, there's millions of other choices that we can make besides having to step into that particular doorway or not step into that doorway because we're too afraid or too intimidated or whatever it is. So my suggestion is merely to, if you've never seen Parks and Recreation, it's definitely worth seeing. Maybe take a moment to watch that. And also, to when we're finding ourselves kind of going, or we're lurking and we know we're lurking and, maybe, stalking or doing whatever into our own lives or into another's life or a job or a situation. If we're kind of in that hover mode, that's not a good place to reside. It leaves us in a position of feeling like we don't have what we really want, and we don't really understand that we don't get to have what we want necessarily, in that just because I want a relationship with that person doesn't mean I'm going to get that. And if I force the issue and get that, it's probably not going to be as much fun as if that had been really for me, and that had been a joint effort on both sides. If the person that you're trying to gain entry into their office doesn't want you in there, and you somehow manipulate, get in, and make that happen, how do you suppose that's going to work? How do you suppose that's going to work? It's probably not going to work well. I haven't seen it work well yet in my life or anybody else's, where we push our way in somewhere against somebody else's will, even if we can talk them into it. If people aren't coming in on their own of their own volition, then they're being manipulated at some level by your guilt or your shame or your anger, or enticed by the cookies, and all that glitters isn't gold, though. So I mean, we're enticed by things, and we're sometimes encouraged to make these terrible decisions because other people want to be in our doorway more than we want to be in theirs, or they want to come into our lives, or they want us to do something, or a job expects us to do something, a paradigm expects us to do something, a preset set of standards expects us to do something, and that might not be what really works best for us. So I'm waiting. 1111, thank you very much. There are blessings all over the place. There's blessings everywhere. And I look for them. And that's not looming in a doorway. That's waiting in the doorway for, there's my blessing. Thank you very much. And move on. So I hope that's helpful for you. And I hope you're enjoying your day, whatever part of the day you're in. And remember, get within your skin, because you're divine. Your divine is absolutely fine. You are banging hot and you're okay. You do not have to stand in doorways wondering. You do not have to let anyone else lurk in your doorway either. Feel free to cleanse your space and remove anybody from your face that is lingering, hovering, stalking, doing weird stuff. If they're there in a malevolent manner, particularly, definitely dump that and go. If they're there just curious or whatever, then maybe you start the dialogue, but you don't do any of it without getting off that fence, without getting out of the uncertainty of it, the lurking. It's creepy. Get out of the creepy part of it. And if either side of that's feeling creepy, then somebody needs to be doing some inventory. The person who feels creepy, that's the one to do the inventory. And we can't expect that because we're feeling creepy that someone's looming in our doorway, that they're going to understand, care, or want to do anything about the fact that they're creeping us out. We have to remove that, violation of our space, get above that creepy feeling, not to just dismiss it and say, I don't have that anymore. Yeah, you can have it. It's okay to have it. It's a matter of set it aside so that it's not running the entire program. And understand that creepy people doing creepy stuff is not okay. How do I deal with this without getting involved in all the hysteria, the emotion, the how could you, the whatever of it, and then be able to return to, I am a human being, I have feelings, I can make a good decision. I'll cry about how much that hurt my feelings later, or I'll be elated that, it's all over, whatever, later. Right now, this is just time for the passion, the fervor, the feelings, the blah, to neutralize. Take 5 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time, however long, until it turns into, 1313 just passed, until it turns into a way of life where I'm pretty balanced and even keel most of the time. And when I feel myself, either triggered by, I feel something hovering, there's something not sure, or I'm doing that, that's time for me to take a moment of pause and get up off that fence. So 1331 just passed, mirroring numbers. So take care of yourselves, as I said. Enjoy your day, whatever part of your day, and take care. Be well, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.